Welcome to Gotta Run. This is Will Sanchez. Thank you for tuning in. This is a very special episode of Gotta Run. We are starting our 9th year of Gotta Run at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. We have done over 250 episodes. My very special guest today is Maria Wong. She is one of the co-founders of Queen's Distance Runners. She is known as the Zen Master. I'm honored to have Maria as my guest. Welcome.
Thanks.
Maria, we're opening up our 9th year, but I believe Queen's Distance Runners is also having an anniversary.
Yes.
Your
5th year.
Excellent. How did you guys celebrate?
Well, this year we had our gala. Actually, it was just last Friday, and we had it at the Queen's Theater. It was a beautiful venue, inside and outside, and we had food, dancing, we had an awards show, and we were surprised by some bouquets of flowers and plaques of our own from our teammates.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I'm sure you guys dressed up a bit?
Yes.
Okay, so you were wearing business suits or all business casual?
Yes.
No,
right.
no running shoes, or maybe
No
some
running
running
attire.
shoes. Oh, really?
I mean, running shoes to get there maybe, but you know.
All right. What were some of the awards that you give out?
So we have most improved female and male. We had best dressed, you know, kind of like New York Road Runners. There are like best team spirit and those kind of awards.
Those are great awards.
Yes.
Okay. There are even fun awards like the Ultra Marathoner of the Year. So who was the Masters Runner of the Year? You did have one. It was Mr. Guzman.
Right, you're right. Yes.
He's a natural.
Yes,
mean,
he's
he's very
very
impressive.
fast, very dedicated, very humble man.
I've seen some of the photos. He's not too bad on the basketball court.
No, he's actually really good. Apparently, he beat Kevin when Kevin was in high school. So yeah.
Oh, so you guys go way back.
Yeah.
Well, let's go over a little bit the history of Queen's Distance.
Okay.
It's been 5 years, but you actually guys have done remarkably well in 5 years. I mean, you came from, I think it was just 3 or 4 of you as the co-founders. So tell us how it started and what was your role at the beginning?
Well, at the time, this was 2013, Kevin and I were racing a lot in the New York running community, and he, being born and bred in Queens, he had noticed that there weren't a lot of Queens-related running clubs. There were a lot in Manhattan and also more springing up in Brooklyn, and he wondered why there wasn't one in Queens, and he's like, you know what, we should start one. And so he started it, and I told him, you know, this is a great idea, and whatever you need, I'm here. So we drove around. Our first race was actually on the Joe Michaels Mile in Bayside. I believe only 7 or about a dozen people showed up. It was cold. I think it might have been cloudy and rainy or whatever, but he wasn't fazed. I mean, yeah, we were kind of like, you know, people showed up even though it was just 12 people. But we kept trusting our gut and moving forward, and now we have over 800 people.
Wow, over 800 in 5 years. But you guys do a lot of recruiting.
Yes.
And you're also very social, because I noticed that I think you were in charge of the birthdays, because you do all the announcements, the February babies, the March babies.
Yes.
And I think there are a few days of the year that you need to recruit for because you don't have anybody's birthday.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
But you know, the first race, it's only 8 or 12 people, a handful. But you know, I see that you do beautiful races, like for toys, to bringing in toys for the community.
Yes.
You did a race to support Nepal after the earthquake like 2 years ago.
Yes.
You guys got together, and you had more than a dozen people show up for those.
Yes, that was actually a weekday race.
The Nepal one?
Yes, so we connected with someone who had a direct connection with Nepal. She's Nepalese. And
Swoops.
Yes, swoops, right. So we decided, hey, why don't we make it fun, open to everyone? And we raised enough money and gave it all to her so that she could directly give it to them.
Right. No other clubs did their own thing. The Mile High Run Club
Yes.
opened it up, their club, their studios for an event, which I participated in. But you guys, Queens only 5 years, but you guys have your own marathon, the
Yes.
Queens Marathon. So tell us a little bit about the history. What gave you the gumption to think you can actually pull off a marathon?
Well, I think maybe less than 5 years ago, the Queens 10K, which we now know, it used to be a Queens half, right? And they cut it down and
Roadrunners did.
yes. And
They did that for the Bronx too. So now it's
yes,
the Bronx
now
10K.
it's 10 miles, right?
10 miles.
Kevin thought that, like the club, we needed a marathon. And he, went around and got support, contacted the right people, got the permits. The first year, we were super nervous. It was like racing your first marathon, like directing it and managing it and making sure that the people who signed up were getting the right things that I guess showcased Queens. That was important to us. I mean, Brooklyn has one. The entire New York City has one, right?
Brooklyn has maybe 2 or 3.
Right. I mean, like, why can't we have one? Right, exactly. I mean, right now it's contained in the park, but obviously our ultimate goal is to have it on the streets. Kevin has actually routed it. You can see it on his Strava, I think Map My Run as well. And we actually did part of it in the past couple of years. He's done half of it while the rest of us did half of it.
Okay, so you have
you piece it together.
You have a course in mind.
Yes.
Like you said, it's a tremendous amount of work. So as you know, I had Kevin here, and he's the energizer bunny.
Yes.
Because other people have tried to open up races, and it just takes years, and you got to set the permits. And you also got to be a people person because you got to get the politicians, the electives.
Yes, and the community.
And the community,
Yes.
right. Now, this is Flushing Park?
Yeah, Flushing Meadows, yeah.
Flushing Meadows. And that has the Unisphere, so that's a beautiful
Yes.
scenery. I want as many photos of that.
Yes, and also Queens Theater and the 2 Pavilion, which we all know from Men in Black. So, yeah.
And Men in Black is coming back.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes.
I wonder, do you know if they shot in Queens again?
I don't know.
I'm looking forward to the reboot. Oh, okay. Now the Queens Marathon, is it a Boston qualifier?
Yes, it is. We've measured it, or Kevin and a person who has the qualifications to measure it accurately has measured it. So yes.
So the marathon is coming up soon, right?
Yes, it's the 3rd weekend of April.
April, and that will be number 4.
Yes.
So after only 1 year in existence, starting with 12 people, you started the Queens Marathon, and how many people do you anticipate doing the 4th one?
We already have hundreds signed up. I don't know the exact number.
But it'll be in the hundreds.
Yes.
So that's I've done other marathons, like the New Jersey Marathon, and I think the most I remember was like 800 or 900. So marathons don't necessarily have thousands of people to be very successful. So having a few hundred, you got to have the shirts and so forth. Okay, that is so exciting. And so besides the Queens Marathon, are there other races that Queens Distance sponsors or manages?
We actually have a training run coming up at the end of this month. It's a 30K, so 18.6 miles for us. And it's a great training run if you're doing a spring marathon like Boston or our marathon. And we try to bring it every year. We also have a fall one so that it prepares you for a fall marathon.
30K.
Yeah, so
Now,
we try to support them.
Is that the one where, maybe it's a different way, where you go to Jersey and you meet up with the
Oh, no. That's our destination runs, which was also a brainchild of Kevin's. And it was a hit right from the get-go. So we have a few spread out throughout the year. We have, the 7 bridges. So you get to run through the different bridges in the city. definitely very good for if you're running New York City Marathon. And then we also have a run to Connecticut. And then we have that run that you just mentioned to Hoboken, which you go over the George Washington Bridge. Hoboken Harriers, yes.
The Harriers?
Yes, yes.
They have that, I think.
Hoha.
Hoha,
yeah,
okay.
yes. We actually used to have one that we ran all the way to Long Island, to Mamaroneck. I think that's how you say it.
Mamaroneck. Oh, it's a tough word.
Yes. We actually started out just running to Little Neck, and then it expanded to Great Neck, and then we just kept going.
But talking about all these races, you just came back from a very special marathon, the Tokyo Marathon.
Yes.
I understand it was your personal best. So tell us, how you did decide to do Tokyo, and what was your training like for that?
Last spring, Kevin brought it to my attention, hey, maybe you should think about doing Tokyo, because I had it, the last marathon I had done was New York.
In 2017?
2017, right. And I didn't want to do a spring marathon that in 2018, so I didn't do it. But I went to cheer for Boston. I came back and I was reinvigorated, and I knew I had Chicago at the end of the year. So I did Chicago in October of 2018. Anyways, before that, Kevin was like, well, Tokyo is another world major, and it'd be fun just to see if you could get in. And we looked up everything. We realized that there was a program that they called the semi-elite program, or run as one program. So basically they only accept 300 international runners, male and female, depending on a time that you had completed in a previous marathon. It had to be recent within a year, just like Boston.
You had New York?
Yes, right. So New York, I had just run 3:12, I believe. So I qualified in that because for women, it was 2:45 to 3:30. So it was like right in the middle. So I submitted it, and I was like, okay, I'll just find out if I get in. It's actually in August when I submitted it. The whole month of August they gave to us to submit.
Okay.
And then I found out.
Before to New York City? Or
Yeah, it was before New York that I found out. And then I was like, oh my God, well, we're going to Tokyo. And then I had just finished my training with Coach Medina for Chicago. It was hard and challenging, but definitely pushed me to a level that I didn't think I could get to. And Chicago wasn't so positive for me in terms of time. And also I had some like stomach problems during the marathon, but I finished it.
You got to learn from each of your marathons.
Right.
Especially if you only done a few, right? That was your fourth?
Chicago was 10.
Oh, 10?
Yeah.
Oh, you've done quite a bit. Oh, we'll get into that, more of your running history.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you did that many. All right, so you mentioned Coach Medina, Coach Luciano Medina. He's been on the show. He's known as the Beast, and he's the...
and the professor.
And the professor,
yes.
and Clutch.
Yeah.
he likes, I think
they call me the Clutch, basically. They say I have the Clutch genes because in all races, everybody will beat me. Every short distance race, mile, whatever the distance was, I will say that the whole team, everybody would beat me, all the guys. And then when the marathon came, actually I was the only one to break the 3-hour mark last year.
Yeah.
And he's officially the I guess your roads coach, your running coach for the Queen's distance.
Yes.
So he took you under his wings for the
Tokyo as well.
For
yes.
Tokyo as well. He did probably train you for Chicago and so forth. So what was different for Tokyo?
He actually created a separate group of runners of us to train together at a high level called the sub-3, CM sub-3. Coach Medina.
Meaning sub 3 hours?
Yes. I knew that I wasn't quite there yet, but he wanted me to be on it so that, like I said before, I could push myself more.
You gotta reach for the stars.
Yes, it's scary, but yes.
Okay, but you're in your borough of Queens. You're with friends, with your coach, and. So that's terribly scary, and you got home cooking.
Yes. I mean, it's scary in the sense that, it's definitely painful, different from a track race. But you know, sometimes it's like just taking the first step. You don't know, you know what I mean? Like that's the scary part.
It can't be painful
Yes.
until you break through, and then it becomes easier and easier. But that's your body gets adjusted to the demands.
Yeah.
And you got to train smart, and you got to
Yes.
eat smart.
Yes.
So how did you manage? Well, you got Coach Medina with the training. How did you manage your nutrition?
Interesting that you mentioned that because this past summer I cut out all meat except for fish. I still ate eggs and occasionally dairy, and I felt better, especially when I eliminated a lot of the dairy and the meat. I felt like lighter.
Did you concentrate on vegetables? That's what they recommend, vegetables and a lot of greens.
I try not to eat too much processed foods, but nothing's really off limits. It's just stuff in moderation. Like I didn't cut
Okay.
a lot of the bad stuff out. Like I still drank coffee. I still like ate chocolate.
Well, those are still good. Coffee and chocolate
Yeah.
are good, you know, because they got vitamins, and coffee. Nowadays, a cup a day is very good.
Yes. And then like, you know, fried foods, I cut out a lot of it.
Ooh, that's good. The
Yes.
fried foods you should
I
cut
don't
as
really
much as
I don't
you-
really like it anyways, but like, you
Pizza
know.
once in a while is okay.
Yes.
Because you have those socials, you know,
Yes.
besides your destination run and your long runs and your training runs, you got
Yeah.
your socials.
Yes,
And you
yes.
do quite of those, so you
Yes.
got to be able to eat.
One of our sponsors is actually Saks Pizza. So there you go.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right. All right. So how long of training was it for Tokyo?
2 weeks after Chicago is actually 18 weeks until Tokyo. So it kind of worked out. And
Perfect.
I literally took 2 weeks off and then it was just straight in.
Yeah, it wasn't as if you were starting from scratch.
No.
I mean, some people would do it. When I joined Team in Training, we went from 0 to 26.2 in 16 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Some of
Yeah.
us actually Boston qualified.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of us finished in 5 hours, but
Yeah.
we finished. So, but you were obviously in good shape. Obviously, a positive attitude because you had New York under your belt, you got Chicago learning experience, and you got the support of your teammates. And at that point, I think another important milestone, you got married recently.
Oh yes, last July.
That's
Yes.
July. So
Yes.
not a year yet.
No,
You're still
no,
in the
not
honeymoon.
yet. I guess so, yeah.
Well, you would know.
I mean, it feels the same. It was a very special day. The person who checked us in actually was like, "This is the biggest crowd we've ever seen here at the City Hall in Kew Gardens."
A lot of people showed up.
I want to say like 20, 30 people.
More than your first run, you know? Only 12 people. You probably had nicer weather.
It was hot.
It was hot.
I mean, it's July 10th. That's actually our anniversary of when we first started dating. And we were like, you know, why not? Let's just make it one date. We don't need like multiple dates. You know what I mean?
July 10th, well, you got to get twice as good a present. You know, you got to work out a deal.
I mean, yeah.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. And of course, we should mention that your husband is the great Kevin Montalvo, a co-founder of the Queen's Sisters along with you. And the other co-founder was Edwin Guzman.
Yes.
And I think there was another person that Kevin mentioned, so maybe he was in the background.
Yes, Raul. Yes.
Raul. Is he a runner?
Actually, no. He was in the Marines and he came back and reached out to Kevin because he ran and he wanted to host a 5K race / fundraiser for the Wounded Warriors.
Oh,
and so,
okay.
yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
that got the ball rolling.
Right.
It's amazing stuff. Well, I'm sure Kevin will do the screenplay of the Queen's distance runners, and that'll be a movie coming out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Maria, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Let's tell us where you were born and something about your growing up years.
So I was born in the Lower East Side. Don't know which hospital exactly, but it was near the water. That's all I remember. And we lived on Ludlow Street, right off of Delancey near the Williamsburg. I lived there for 10 years, and then my parents decided to move to Alabama to open a restaurant. So then I was there for middle school and high school, so 8 years. And then
Wait a minute, this is a big, well, you're only 10 years old. You
Yes.
probably didn't really notice this big, I mean, did you notice the
I did.
big change?
I did. Definitely with the environment, in terms of all of a sudden we have to be in cars all the time. There was a lot of trees. It smelled different, smelled clean. The people were different. Their accents were different. Food was different. Our living situation was different.
You lived in a house, I guess?
Yes. Well, in the beginning, it was like a couple of apartments, and then we finally purchased a house.
Wow, that's a big
We,
change.
meaning my parents.
What kind of
yeah.
restaurant did you open in Alabama?
It was a Chinese takeout, so.
Probably not too many of those in
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Chinese checkout is the best.
I mean, if you go anywhere in the world, there's at least one Chinese restaurant in that area. I went to Jamaica and I saw one. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. So your parents from China then?
Yes, they're from the southeast, like Fuzhou region, Fujian, which is close to Japan, actually.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
yeah.
So you're in Alabama. Was you athletically involved in? Were you in cars?
No,
No exercise?
Do you remember that, like, the presidential mile that we had to do? Anyways, we had to do that in school. This was in high school. In the South, you're only required to take 1 year of PE, physical education. And I remember vividly in 9th grade, we were doing it. My friend and I, we ran a loop of the track, the 400-meter track. We ran a loop, we walked a loop, we ran another loop, and then we walked the last loop. And I remember I finished in like a little over 12 minutes. And we were like the last people on there. And I was just like, this is it. I'm never running again. I hate it. And yeah, I don't know what happened. And actually my sister, she was the one who ran. She would run in our neighborhood like every morning, and my brother and I would just walk and we'd be like, you're crazy. Like, we don't understand.
This is in Alabama.
Yes.
Was she older?
No, she's young. I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
Yes.
Oh, the baby wanted to run.
She's in the middle, and then my brother's the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Usually, the younger look up to the older because there was other things she was looking up. So where did you go to college and what did you study?
I went to Massachusetts for school. And then I always knew I would come back here. So that's what I did. Yes. So I did.
Coming back to
yeah, I was like, I can never be in the South, and it's not for me. And, Boston's nice, but I don't think I can live here. My heart always was here, so I moved back because my family's here too.
In New York as well, now you got a home in Alabama.
Well, we sold that, so yeah.
We moved back to New York?
Yeah.
Okay. It was a good adventure.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you study in college?
Graphic design.
Do you use those skills at Queen's Distance stuff? Did you design these shirts?
I did. With the direction of Kevin, we made it together.
I see wonderful posters with the different races. Do you do most of those as well?
Yes.
Oh, right. Because they're very creative, unique to that particular race.
Yes. We also now, since we've grown so much, we have a lot of teammates that are also designers. So we have like Nina, Adriana, also helping out once in a while. Yeah.
And I know you did one that was a beautiful race for one of your teammates in support of her daughter.
Maria, yes. Catherine's daughter, yes.
That's right. That was a couple years ago.
It coincided with her birthday as well.
Oh, yeah, that was so beautiful to do. It's so wonderful that you guys get involved in these different aspects of running because sometimes, people have issues and you help them. Whether it's an earthquake or a very personal one, the daughter's going through, needs extra support, needs extra love, and you're there to make sure she gets it.
Well, I mean, running to other people, it might seem like you're just out there by yourself, but really it's a community of people who want to not only make like ourselves better, but our community better. Because when our community is good, like we can run without having to worry about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Running's a beautiful thing, and it is a beautiful community. Okay, now you said, I think Tokyo was your 10th marathon?
It's my 11th.
Your 11th. So what was your first?
Our first was Albany, the Hudson Mohawk.
Okay.
Up there that did it. It was 4 loops of a SUNY campus.
Okay, why that one?
Well, actually, Kevin convinced me. And I think at that point, I didn't quite understand what an undertaking I took on, and I wore the wrong shoes. I was so nervous half an hour before it that my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I'm not even kidding. I've never been that nervous before in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this has been a tremendous growth. The last 11 marathons. I don't know if it's that's 11 years, but
7 years.
one marathon a year, huh?
Kind of, yeah. There were some that were
That's
like
a
2.
tremendous from shaking the first to coming back from Tokyo
Yeah.
to the social director, practically the Zen master, the soul of the Queen's Distance. People look up to you. You know, that's tremendous. We got married. You guys met at Paragon, right? When you were both working
Yes.
at the Paragon store. I had Kevin here.
And I haven't won any races, but winning the race to get Maria Wong essentially was the essential race that I needed to win. Yeah.
That's an interesting metaphor, to race to her heart.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
sweet.
great. So he's a happy fellow, and obviously you're happy. And you're going to soon be celebrating 1 year in July.
Yes.
All right. Any other exciting events coming up that you guys are sponsoring?
You know, besides our fall, get ready for our destination runs because they're going to start soon. And I think that's it. I mean, anything we have, any news, we always post it on social media. So
you have on Facebook, you got Queen's
Facebook, Instagram, our website, it's out there.
Excellent. Excellent. And now, professionally, I think you told me you're in real estate.
Yes, but I am not a broker. I help out in the marketing department. So yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, you're in Queens, and Amazon was in the news recently because they were supposed to come to Queens, and
Yeah.
you're in marketing. Amazon backed out. What would you have done differently to make them come to stay in Queens, if anything?
Well, we have to backtrack because, like I said before, you have to have the community support. They didn't. They didn't even go to the community. That was their first misstep.
So that was Amazon, or was
Yes.
that the mayor de Blasio? Because he and the governor, they were coordinating this.
I think Amazon should have communicated with the community, and I think that Cuomo and de Blasio also should have been like, now that you've talked to us, we think you should talk to the community. So I think it was both of their faults, honestly.
Okay. All right. So the lesson learned is community counts.
And communication. Yes.
Community counts, and communications should be transparent.
Yeah.
But Queen's Distance runners, they're on the right track. Wonderful things. It'll be very interesting to see what the next 5 years will bring for Queen's Distance.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for stopping in.
Thanks, Will.
Pleasure.